Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are all well. My name is Johan Gorian. I am the head of community for Engager, and today we're going to spend the next 45 minutes or so talking about all the releases that came out in July, what's coming up in the next few days, and some of the bigger projects that the team are working on at the moment to give you a flavour of which way we are going. So, if you can all just confirm that you can see and hear me in the comments and say hello, that'll be fantastic. And then we'll start doing some of the usual housework, as it were. So, Tom Bickles here. Afternoon, Johan and the Engager team, Nadine, Paul. Excellent. Kirsty says, yep, can hear you loud and clear. Fantastic. Okay, on that case, then, we will do some housekeeping as per usual with these kind of things. If throughout the session you want to ask me any questions, I ask that you don't put them into the chat because there's 175 people registered for this webinar, so the chat could fill up very quickly. It means I miss questions and I don't give you the answers to your questions, and that is not what we want to achieve. So if you've got any questions for me today, if you can click on the questions button at the bottom right, it's the it says questions. It's got a white circle with a black question mark in it. If you click on that, that will take you through to the question section where you can post your questions and I will answer them as I go through today. That is pretty much it for housekeeping. We're not at a live event, so we don't have to worry about things like fire alarms and stuff like that. Although if your fire alarm goes off while you're at this webinar, please do feel free to leave the webinar and make sure you're safe. So what I'd like to do first of all, before we get into the releases we did in July, what's coming up in the next few days, potentially even tomorrow morning, but I'm going to say the next few days just to be safe, and what the bigger projects are we're working on to give you all a flavour of where we're going. I just want to give you some insights of where you can get more information more rapidly than just waiting for these kind of webinars. So first of all, every single Wednesday night, 7:30 till 8:30, I run a live session on Zoom, very much like this, where anyone can come in, ask any questions they've got about Engager, whether you're new to Engager, whether you've been with us for 4 years. Everybody is welcome. There's normally 30 or 40 people there every single week at Wednesday night. And to register for that, you can click on this link that I'm putting into the chat now. And literally that is 7:30 till 8:30 every Wednesday night, unless I'm traveling or something. I do these sessions myself as one of the co-founders of Engager. I've been doing these sessions for 3 years, pretty much every week, to make sure that we're getting the feedback and I'm being able to talk and listen to our users. In these sessions, I tend to share any updates, give you an early preview of any releases that are coming out in the next week, which we're testing. And then I also basically spend 40 odd minutes, if not longer, answering your questions. And the questions I get are not just about Engager, they're about how I run my own practice, etc. So that they are all fantastic sessions with all of your questions. So feel free to sign up. Sarah, I can no longer view the Wednesday live sessions as the recordings are no longer published on the usual link. So all the live sessions are now published into the Help Centre, Sarah. I think I'm 2 weeks behind in publishing, but that's because we've got a new Help Centre. So instead of using the link on the email, just go to Help Centre in Engager, press the Get Help bit, and that'll take you to the right place. I've just done that. Right, okay. Next place that you can always get fantastic insights and support about Engager and TaxCalc is in our Facebook community page. If you're not part of that, here is a link to the Facebook community. In there, there's over 2,000 members using TaxCalc and or Engager. We share all of our updates in there. We often go in there and ask people's opinions. We do polls, etc. So it's well worth being in there and just asking questions about, oh, how does everyone deal with this in their firm? And you'll get lots of really good responses from all of the firm owners on how they deal with certain things in their firm. And then on top of that, we have what we call Fusion, which is our in-person event. Fusion is at the moment on the road. So we've done Manchester and Birmingham already. And on the 10th of September, we're actually going to be in Edinburgh. If you live in Edinburgh, Glasgow, Perth, down to Newcastle, wherever you live, and you want to have a day trip to Edinburgh, we have got a fantastic venue. Over in the Dynamic Earth venue, which is absolutely phenomenal as a venue down near Hollywood. So if you want to join us on that day, it's a completely free day. We feed and drink you as well. So you'll get your lunch and stuff like that. You just need to book your space using the link I've just put into the chat as well. On those events, we get special speaking to talk about AI and all the other stuff that's going on in firms. We do product demos. We talk about the latest parts of our roadmap and stuff. So it's a constant changing conversation at each event we do. So make sure you sign up to the Edinburgh one and head on over for a very, very good day out of the office. Cool. Okay. So let me share my screen. Amanda, will you be doing Wales at all? Not this year, Amanda. We've done Birmingham, Manchester, Edinburgh, and we're doing London at some point is our plan. Or we did London last November. We're hopefully going to look at it again at some point. But we haven't got anything in Wales. So basically what we've done is we looked at the UK map and we pinpointed all Engager and TaxCalc users on the map. And we've gone for 4 big hubs where a vast majority of our users are within 1 hour's travel from that hub. Now, I appreciate Wales is a very different matter. My brother, both my brothers actually went to university in Wales, Aberystwyth, and getting through Wales on single track roads can be somewhat slow, which makes the travel time somewhat longer. But yeah, so we've tried to do a fusion event as close to as many people as possible with Edinburgh, Manchester, Birmingham, and London based on the spread of our users. But hopefully that insight helps you see that we are putting some genuine thought into where we do these events. Brilliant. Okay, so let me share my screen and we'll go through all of the updates that have happened since June. So the first update that we released in June was by popular demand on our roadmap, on our ideas suggestion, and that was the ability to flag memos. So if I go into a client, if I go into your client limited, and I go to memos, we've always had memos. These have been available since day one in Engager. But what we've now got the ability to do is to flag one of the memos. So you can have as many memos as you like, but you can flag one. So for example, I might want to put a memo on saying, because we want to come across as humans and we want to show we care about our clients. And what I can do is I can flag that memo, which puts this in red. But more importantly, when I go to my client screen, I've got this nice big red warning that you can't miss saying client's mum's very poorly. Please ask after her if you speak to them. Now, other examples I've seen of this are invoices are behind. We're missing key information. Ask for this if you manage to speak to the client. Don't mention this because he gets a bit upset, that type of thing. So I've seen all sorts of examples, or clients retiring in 6 months' time and services are coming to an end. Whatever it is, this is a way to bring that memo's detail and attention to the attention of your team members. So that's our first one. Our next one is now if you use TaxCalc and Engager, there you have the ability to bring in tax liabilities into Engager. and to send them in bulk emails. So if I go through to a client that I've got connected to, so if I go to ABC Limited, that's connected to TaxCalc. I can see that by this logo here. So again, we've got a memo here, credit control, those 3 months invoices. What a scoundrel. So this client's linked to TaxCalc. And when I go to tax references, he says, that one's not a good example, Johan. Hold the line. Try Miss Molly Baker. Yes. So when I go to a client that's linked to TaxCalc, you can now see in this case, it's an individual. So you can see their self-assessment amounts due for January the 31st, for 25, 26, 24, 25. And next year, this will all change automatically to 24, 26, 27, 25, 26. And you can see the July payments as well. If you went into a limited company, you'd see the corporation tax liability here as well. And then what you can also do is you can go to this client and you can send them an email or a text message. We'll go to an email this time. And you can add in the placeholders for, so if I search tax, you can see here, I've got TaxCalc self-assessment data. I can do total tax, national insurance due, payment on account due, total income. Oh, excuse me, my hands slipped and pressed a button there. Balance and payment. So these are all the different options you can choose from. And all you need to do, so like total amount due in January, I want to tell my client exactly what they've got to pay at the end of January. I go on here, I go which tax return do I want to tell them about on the 25, 26. I click on the button and that puts the placeholder in the email. And I can then put in here, please note you need to pay, put a, oh no, don't even need a pound mark. And then when I click on preview, it will automatically pull in the amount here if there was an amount being pulled through. But at the moment, we've got a dash there because we've not done the tax return. So those placeholders can be used on individual emails, or they can be used in bulk emails as well. If you've not used bulk emails in Engager before, then what I would suggest is you go to our website and go to support and free training. And on here, you'll see we do a different training session every day of the week, which covers different topics. So we've got workflows, communication and automation. That's the one you'd want to go to learn about automated emails, bulk emails, etc. So this is all available to you guys for another top tip, actually. And I do this in my own practice. When a new team member starts, I make them sign up to all of these training courses so that Engager does the training for my team member. So if I've got a new team member, they take part in all these training courses to understand all the functionality to save me as the firm owner or my team having to train them myself. Paul says, can you mark the payments on account when they have been paid? You can't at the moment, Paul. We're looking at how we can do that between ourselves and TaxCalc. But at the moment, we're just pulling in the balances as stated on the tax returns that you have filed. Karen, can we do this manually if we don't use TaxCalc? Karen, so all you need to do is put into, yes, you can build custom fields and manually input the numbers if you want to, Karen. I believe there's an article about that in the Help Centre that I made a couple of years ago. Umesh, can Engager not create standard email templates for these tax liabilities for users? You can build your own templates, Umesh. That's not an issue at all. So you go to settings, message templates, and you can build as many email templates as you like. Top tip for use of AI here: if you want to get ChatGPT or Claude to make your email templates for you, you can do that and then when you then copy and paste them into here, into your template. So you go in, you create a template, and when you come in and copy and paste the information in, you then just need to select which placeholders you want where to populate into that email. Just a reminder, guys, the questions need to go into the questions box so I don't miss them in the chat. Jane, the only thing that would be useful would be a way of showing the corporation tax due date. I can't find a way of doing it. So the corporation tax due date. No, we don't have the corporation tax due date here at the moment. We've just got the tax period end, start, and the corporation tax figure. So you need to enter the tax due date manually when sending out the email. Julie, can I show the bank details and reference number for tax calculations for payment? Absolutely. Again, you just update your template. So I have got a template in my firm which has, dear so-and-so, just to bring to your attention, the following amounts need to be paid to HMRC on the following dates. And I've got like July 31st, 2026, and then placeholder telling them the amount. January 2027, placeholder telling them the amount. July 2027, placeholder telling them the amount. To make this payment via bank transfer, please use these bank details. And I put the bank details for HMRC, and then I say, and use the reference, and then I have a placeholder for their UTR. So that it places their UTR there so they can't say they don't know what the reference is either. But this is all stuff you guys can build out in your templates. We don't build huge amounts of templates because every single firm's different in how they want to communicate and the tone of language they want to use in emails and stuff. Some people are very formal and dear sir or madam. Other people are more relaxed and casual. So it's up to you guys to build your own templates with the information in that you want. We're just trying to create as many placeholders and as possible to make those templates as adaptive as possible. Right. Next one is the ability to auto-enable services. So we've all got services that we turn on every single time for every single client. Onboarding, AML review, client catch-up, fee review, stuff like that. So what we've done is we've built in a new feature in our services where you can go in and you can scroll down and you've got this section here, service automatically enabled for new clients. And you select which clients you want this service to be turned on for automatically. And I can select limited companies, liabilities, whatever it is, or maybe I want it for individuals, whatever it is you want. And what will happen there is once you've got your client, those services turned on, if you go and create a new client, let's say I'm going to create a limited company, I go to service detail, the onboarding and the AML are already on, and the client catch up. They're already turned on for me. I don't need to remember to turn them on. They're automatically turned on by default. Okay, so all you need to do is set the dates that you're going to do these things by. So this has basically been designed back again off the feedback to make sure that we are not missing as firm owners and staff in our employees in our firm, not missing turning on key features that we don't think about as part of the proposal stage because we might not charge for onboarding or AML reviews. So this just makes it a bit more consistent across your firm. On top of that, we've brought in some new filters in our deals board. So the deals board is still currently free of charge until the next rollout happens, which I don't have a date for yet. But the next rollout will be with the client gathering information form, loads of different reporting and insights available as well. So that's coming out at a later date. It is penciled in for August. It might be September now, but until that rollout happens, deals feature stays free of charge. And when it does become payable, it's just 15% of your current subscription. So it's scaled in line with the size of your business. But some of the feedback we got was about the ability to see all active deals and all closed deals filtered out nice and easily. So we've built these two new filters on the stage area, so you can do that nice and easily. Hundreds and hundreds of firms are tracking their revenue opportunities on this. Within just 2 weeks, there was over £14.5 million of annual revenue opportunities being tracked through Engage's deal prospect board. Amanda says, what's the difference between deals and proposals? So a deal, this is you tracking your sales. So this is your sales pipeline. So you've got, you can have as many different stages along here as you like. We've got new, attempting contact, interested, qualified. Let me get rid of all my stages. Closed won, closed lost. So basically what you're doing here is you're creating a deal. And this is the part where you've had an inquiry. You want to track that inquiry so you can see what you're winning and losing, but it's not at the proposal stage yet. So maybe it's a website referral. Maybe someone said, oh, can you speak to my Aunt Mary, because she needs a tax return. Here's her details. Or you speak to someone at a networking event and they pass you their business card and say, can you reach out? We need to have a chat about your accounting services and how you can help me. So this is the idea here is that you're tracking everything from the moment you have the inquiry right through to winning, sending them a letter of engagement or proposal, at which point we auto track that part right through to close won, close lost. And you can see how many deals you're winning, losing, etc. Hopefully that makes more sense, Amanda. Okay, and the final update that came out in July was we have made email addresses clickable. So if I go into ABC Limited, if I go to individuals, the email address is now clickable. And when you click on it, you can now, it will now automatically open a new email window for you to be able to go in and type and send an email to that client without having to go into the communication log or through the emails and the email tab. So that's nice and easy. Sally says the problem with email addresses is I cannot copy it anymore. Correct. We are working on that. The team are having a look at what our options are. The problem is, Sally, what we could do is put like 2 blue squares here to copy, but it's going to make the UI look very busy in a lot of places. So we're just trying to work out the best way to lay that out, Sally. But we've got that feedback on board already, and we are looking at it. So that was July. That was everything we released in July. I'm just going to check the questions. Sarah, I can't find the page with different weekly live sessions. Please, can you put a link in the chat? So Sarah, if you just go to Get Help and just type in weekly, it will find it. So weekly live, and I'm going to put in June 2026. And then it will highlight the ones that are from June 2026 for you. So we've tried to make it a lot simpler just by giving you the search function. So yeah, Helen says, can you copy from the main client screen? You absolutely can. So if I went into this person's client record, I can either click here to open it, or I can go to general info and I can copy and paste the email from here. But obviously that's not ideal. It's a few more clicks than it used to be. So we will be looking at how we can improve that for people that don't want to just have the clickable ability in Engager. Giovanni, yes, there will be a recording. Just click on the link that you've been emailed today to join this session. If you click on the link after this session, it starts auto replaying within minutes of this session ending, and it will be there to start playing as soon as you click the link each time. Fantastic. Right. So that's July's releases. That's everything we released last month. In the coming days, we have got 4 different releases. So the first one is on our, and all of these are driven again by feedback. So in our jobs board, if I go to my jobs board, under reports, we've got a report called jobs completed in a given period. We're now updating this as of in the next couple of days. So this is in my example. It's not going to be in yours, guys. Don't go start looking for this now. It's not released yet. We're just doing some final testing before it's released. But if you go into the completed jobs report, it will now give you the ability to see the manager of the person that completed the work and to batch by and filter by manager. So that's a new part of this feature that's coming out in the next couple of days. Again, based on user feedback saying we'd like to be able to see each manager's work that's been done by their team. So that's there for you coming in the next couple of days. Another feedback we had was about proposals and letters of engagement. So if I go into a client, if I go to my proposals and letters of engagement, up until now, this is how you've always viewed it, and it's a bit small, completely get that. So what we're now doing is we've now, in the next couple of days, this new button is going to be launching, so you can now see it in full screen, and it's treated as a proper PDF, so you can zoom in and zoom out and read through it and have it on a screen with your client if you so wish. So again, that's user feedback being actioned there, rather than just having this screen here. I'm just going to stop there for a couple of minutes because we've got a couple of questions. Karen, hi, if you complete a job but want to change the date to say for last week as you were behind on ticking them off, can you change the date? I don't think you can, Karen, because it's got an audit log. So you need to be completing them on time or at the time of doing it. Or maybe add a note to the job saying that you completed it late, but it was done on an actual date, and that will show up on the audit log as well. But yeah, it's not designed to let you go back and alter completion date, because in a bigger team that would cause chaos with people messing around. Nadine, I have 2 individuals who were previously just contact/directors for KIC, but have now also taken on personal tax returns. I've updated their records in Zama, adding as individuals as well as directors of KIC, but Engage is still showing them as unlinked as individuals. Can you send us some screenshots, Nadine, just so I can understand what's going on there, and I can come back to you. If you email those screenshots to contact@engager.app, and we will have a look at that for you. Umesh says that's a good change to the letter of engagement. Glad you like it. Neil, regarding proposals, it's really annoying that you bring in NAs for software. Again, Neil, send us a screenshot of that and we'll help talk you through how to get rid of that. It's probably because there's a custom field that you've not filled out and you don't want. If it's a case it's a custom field that you don't want on your letters of engagement, all you do is go to client data, custom fields. So if I go to, for example, down here, software, if I click on the edit button, make sure it's not, it's probably marked yes as included in pricing. Whereas if you make sure it says no and save, then it won't show up in your letter of engagement. That's assuming I've come up with the right location of what you're struggling with, Neil. But if you take a screenshot and send it to support, contact@engager.app, they'll be able to make sure what I've second guessed is right. Just a reminder, guys, if we can put questions into the questions box, not the chat, that'd be great. Okay, so Neil says, yeah, it's bringing up in pricing factors. So there, yeah, that will solve your problem, Neil. If you go in and just change the change it to make sure included in pricing factors for LOE is no, then it'll be absolutely fine, Neil. Patrice, sorry I'm tardy, better late than never. I'm hoping this will be on catch up. Absolutely, Patrice. All you need to do is click on the link in the email that you've clicked on to get to here. As soon as I've ended this session, you can click on that link and it will start the replay of this session for you. Claire, will self-assessment amounts in Engager eventually show the split between balance and payment on account for January? They already do, Claire. They have done since day one. So if I go into, let me go into settings and I'll go to a message template. So if I go to tax, you've got all these different options. So you can do the total tax, you can do payment on account, you can do payment on account, you can do the balancing payment. So if you want to split it out, you could do payment on account for January, you could do the balancing payment for January, and you could do a total amount as well. That payment on account one's the July one, sorry, it's this one here. So we've already got that ability to split these out if you want to. Most people we spoke to wanted it all totaled, so total for January, and that's why we brought in the total one as well. Brilliant. Okay, done that one. Another feature that's come in and been requested, again, it will launch in the coming days, is when you do a checklist, one of the abilities you have on the checklist is to mark whether it should be that client needs a fee review or not. And the idea is based on doing the bookkeeping or the accounts, you go, these guys ain't paying enough for this, we need to do a fee review, and you mark it as yes on the checklist. In the coming days, you're going to have a new widget that will show you how many have been marked as necessary for a fee review. In this case, we've got 6 checklists have been marked for fee review, and you can click on them and it will take you into that client, so you can have a look at the checklist and do a fee review of them. So now that data on the checklist isn't just going into the internet and being lost, it will now show up on the fee review widget for you. And another little quality of life improvement is when you go into your clients and you do like a bulk update, say you're going to turn on a service on bulk with the bulk actions, you used to turn on the service and then you used to have to go back and set the date. Now, if you turn on self-assessment, annual accounts, VAT, any of the built-in services. So let me show you where you'll see that difference. If you go to settings, services, anything that's called built-in as a type, if you turn that service on in bulk, the system will work out what that next deadline should be and set that deadline for you to save you having to set that manually as well. Again, that's user feedback in action there. Right, I've got a few more questions, and then we're going to talk about what's coming up, what we're working on behind the scenes. Claire says, sorry, I mean in the summary in the tax references. That's not been asked for, Claire, but if that's something that you'd like, all you need to do is click on your name in the top right-hand corner and request a feature and put that into a feature request, and that will go to the team and we'll review that and start looking at it. And other users can then upvote it to help prioritize it as well. Julie Simpson, can I change where the checklist is? Mine are upon submission, would like them on preparation. I'm not sure I understand that one, sorry, Julie. So a checklist basically is linked to a job. So it's a link to a service. So if you've got a accounts preparation service and accounts submission service, then you'd want to link your checklist to the accounts submission preparation service instead of linking it to the submission service. So if I go to services If I go to annual accounts, for example, one of the options down here is a checklist. Which checklist do you want to use? He says, I don't use checklists in my firm, so I never find this very easily. Oh, yeah, so checklist is enabled, and then you go to checklists, and for each service, you can create a checklist. So if you've put all your checklists onto account submission as a job, then that won't show up on accounts preparation as a job. So if you've got two different services, that's what you want to do, is make sure you're creating your checklist under the right service. Um, Neil, with placeholders, can you apply maths to the data? You can't, Neil. It is just this is what's stored in this field, put it there. So you can't apply any maths or bod maths or anything like that to a field, to a placeholder. It's just fetching data basically and going, oh, that's from this field over here. I'm going to put that in the email for you. Sarah, are there any other plans to have other roles built in, such as bookkeeper, payroll manager? Yes, there are. It's on the ideas list, so go and give that a vote. But it is there, and there's been discussions recently about that actually. So yeah, it's definitely something we're looking at. I don't have any ETAs for you though. Second question, are there any plans to be able to assign phases to roles rather than people? Again, that is where that whole conversation about payroll manager, client manager, director, bookkeeper, accountant, all was being had, was how do we give you the ability to assign to both people or a job role? So yes, those are both on the ideas list. Go and give them an upvote, Sarah. And they're both being discussed at the moment. Andrew, oh, so if a client has paid £1,000 on payment account towards their final 1,500, would you still have to manually enter the 500 balance to pay, or does the figure come through via TaxCalc? So TaxCalc doesn't know what your client's paid, unless you've updated the TaxCalc, the tax return itself to reflect that that payment account's been made. Then it would pull through the right payment account. So TaxCalc doesn't know from HMRC what the outstanding balance is or the live balance is. So we can't pull that number through TaxCalc and into Engager. If you've done this year's tax return and that changes July's payment account, then at the moment, you need to make that manual adjustment. But that's something we're looking at how we can work with, and we're also looking at the HMRC APIs for MTD to see what opportunities there are to make life a bit easier with balances. And I notice you have different packages. What are they for? Are they linked to new proposals? Ignore that, this stuff, Karen. This is just when users have asked us how would we build something, we've built it in here to show them how we would build it. Ignore that. It's just us doing testing and stuff for users that have asked us questions. So yeah, so some users like to have the wording of gold package, platinum package, so they have that as a service, and then they have a list of all the services involved in that, basically. So Karen says, shame, it looked like, Karen, you build it out however you like, that's not an issue. But yeah, we don't do package pricing in Engager at this time. It's on the ideas list, but we haven't got that yet. Right, final 20 minutes. So I want to now go through kind of what we're working on behind the scenes, because obviously we've got over 500 suggestions on the roadmap. So that is on the ideas list. So that is a huge focus for us to keep knocking these things out. That's what we were doing in July. This week's announcement releases are all very focused on the ideas list and what people have asked for. But there's also much, much bigger projects going on in the background. So the bigger updates that are going on at the moment are AI. we have been actively looking at AI for a few months now as to how we can build it into Engager, where the true value is, because what we don't want to do is just go, oh, we've got AI, and give the marketing guys lots of AI excitement when actually it delivers very little value. So we want to make sure whatever we release with AI is a genuine value add to your firm and to use in Engager. It's not just there for the sake of us being able to turn around and go, we use AI, we have AI features. We want it to have genuine, deep, meaningful, impactful benefits to you and your firm. So there's lots going on with that. We're doing lots of different examples and testing and ideas of how that can work. So we aren't ignoring AI, don't panic, but we're also not going to fall into the trap of releasing AI for the sake of releasing AI. We're also doing a big project on a more powerful times, fees, and billing module. So this is something that a lot of larger firms have been asking for. So we're going to try and make our time tracking, fees, and billing feature a lot more powerful over the coming weeks and months. On top of that, we're developing the ability for multi-office. So the idea being, if you've got ABC Accountants Limited, but you've got a London office, an Edinburgh office, a Birmingham office, you'll be able to drop down, log into your Engager and see office by office, but also at a company level, what is outstanding, what work's being done by what teams, whereabouts. There's a huge piece on deeper user permissions, giving more authority and control over which team members can see which clients and what they can and can't do in there. So that's been an ongoing project for a while now, and it's coming closer to fruition, thankfully. We are also aware that our user interface, what you see in Engager, is getting a bit tired. So we're doing a big project on user interface and modernizing that for you as well. We are close to fixing or finalizing the TaxCalc Engager API so that the addresses sync, the email sync, the telephone numbers sync. The variations in how an address can be listed and set up is phenomenal. Even HMRC and Companies House have different standards of how to store address data. So for us to then try and organize it all to keep all the softwares happy that we connect to, plus HMRC, plus Companies House, has been a mammoth of a job, but we think we're getting there. So that is on its way as well. And then, of course, we've got Pipeline 2.0, which is the deals board that we've already got, that's currently free of charge. That will be evolving into its paid for version, which will be 15% of your subscription each month, increase on top of your subscription. So it's scalable and it's affordable for every firm of every size. We didn't want to just go with one fixed fee and everyone pays the same or anything like that. We wanted it to be in line with the pricing that Engager has always done, which grows with the size of your firm. And that will have the ability for you to have a form on your website for people to send an inquiry from your website, and it will create a prospect and a deal in Engager for you. There's going to be some new reporting as well, so you can start really understanding the sales behavior in your firm. A lot of accountants and bookkeepers aren't always great at understanding the sales in their business, because ultimately we have to remember we are running a business. So I know for a fact that when I put all my deals onto a deals board when this first released, I realized I'd missed out on £60,000 worth of annual revenue because I hadn't followed deals up properly, and I'd forgotten about them and stuff. So that Pipeline 2.0, as we're calling it, is also one of the big projects going on at the moment. Right, that's everything at the moment. They're the kind of big projects we're working on. There's loads and loads of tiny little things going on as well behind the scenes. But we just wanted to give you an idea of this is what we've done in July, this is what we're working on right now, and this is what's coming out in the future as well. So I'm just going to go through the questions that are coming in. Rebecca, sorry, I joined late and currently don't have Engager. Are client jobs all allocated to all users, or can they be allocated to individual users? Absolutely, Rebecca. Every job has phases. So you go into each job when you set them up. So if I go to settings, if I go to services, let's go to the annual accounts job, my favorite test place. Each phase is a step in your workflow, and you can assign a step to, by default, one person, but you can then go into each client and change that default person to someone else as well. So here we've got this one's going to be done by Tommy, then this step's going to be done by the offshore team, then this step's going to be done by the boss, this step's going to be done by Jackie, this step's done by Steve, this step's done by Peter, but you can go into each client and change that as well, Amanda. Sorry, Rebecca. If you've not seen the product in full, Rebecca, definitely worth booking onto a demo via our website, and the team will take you through all your questions there and answer all your questions without any problems. Amanda, Wales question again. I have a few clients that were set up a limited company on Companies House. They put Wales instead of UK, which then causes an issue with Companies House updates to Engager. Any ideas on how to get around this? I don't, off the top of my head, Amanda. I've not heard of that issue before. Send it in to us. Send us some screenshots of the addresses and stuff, and we will happily have a look at it. Because we can interrogate the HMR, the Companies House API, to see what's going on there, and we might be able to give you an idea of what to do to get around it. Sally, are we going to be able to tick off phases not in order soon? It's not on the current roadmap, Sally. It's not something we've built yet. It's on the ideas list. We're trying to work out how we do it without breaking everything, because obviously everything in phases is built around doing it in that workflow order. Now, I completely appreciate that sometimes where you get roadblocks, so you move on to the next phase, you do that phase, and then you go back. Completely get that. I have it in my firm a lot, especially with onboarding and stuff. But in the world of programming, everything's linear. So it's like, right, I've done this. That triggers my status update email to go out here. I've got automations that send automated emails that send when a job goes into a certain status and stuff. But actually, I need to go backwards, and that now breaks the automation. There's lots of things going on, Sally, that makes not in order a hugely complex programming job. So we just need to make sure whatever we build for you doesn't then break everything else, which is what's taking the time. Brilliant. Karen, just a link to existing AI would be a good start. Karen, it absolutely would, but there's a huge issue with AI. So I said this on my podcast on Monday. Firms that are just connecting their practice management tool or their bookkeeping tool to their Chat GPT and Claude, I spoke to 3 different firm owners last week. All 3 were breaching GDPR because they'd all gone and connected their bookkeeping software to Claude or to Chat GPT, and they were using the free version of Claude or Chat GPT. And softwares aren't telling you this, but you shouldn't use their connectors unless you are on the Teams or higher package. So there's normally Teams or Enterprise. You should not be using Claude, your client data in those unless you're on those packages. So obviously we've got a huge security concern because of the amount of data we hold in Engager about your clients, and just letting people willy-nilly connect them to stuff like that. But we are looking at all different options and how we can make sure it's done safely alongside you. Karen says, interesting. I thought most people knew that already. Absolutely not with Karen. It's like there was a figure out the other week. Only 20% of accounting and bookkeeping firms use document processing tools. You know, like Apron, Dext, Auto Entry, HubDoc, stuff like that. Only 20% of accounting firms in the UK actually use them. Yet everyone on this call, I'm sure, will go, well, that's ridiculous. We all use it. Surely everybody knows about this technology. It's been around for 10 years. We are very much victims of our own echo tunnels, where we think everyone here is talking about it, so it must be everywhere. So, but it really isn't. So yeah, it's scary how far behind most firms are in technology, and how unaware they are to rules around using AI and stuff. I know there's other softwares out there that do a lot of things that we don't, but there's also reasons we don't do things. And a car can go past 70 miles an hour on a motorway. It doesn't actually make it legal for you to go faster than 70 miles an hour. Just because a car can do 120 miles an hour doesn't actually make it legal for you to do that. So just because a software facilitates something doesn't mean it's the best thing to do. But yeah, so we have to make sure we're doing things in the right interests of our users, and that we're educating people because we feel that's a responsible thing to do. So that's why we're not just whacking out in random integrations without really thinking it through and working out what kind of data is safe to expose to Claude or ChatGPT or Copilot, whatever you're using, and what sort of data shouldn't be exposed, and then weighing up the benefits and the insights that you can get from it, etc. Stevens, sorry, was at a meeting. Will we get a recording? Yeah, Stevens, Stevens, sorry, I don't know if that's your surname or first name. When this meeting ends, you will be able to go to your email, click the link again, and the replay will start straight away for you. Elizabeth, any update on restricting team members from seeing certain clients? Yep, that's exactly what I just spoke about with the deeper user permissions. That's what that is all about, is restricting feature use and client visibility. So that's in our bigger projects. That's an ongoing project at the moment. Sarah, regarding timesheets, can you enter all of your time at one go for a day, like a spreadsheet, or do you have to go to client A and enter, and then client B, etc.? No, so if you go to time logs, Sarah, you can click on new time log. You can either do it a timer or manual entry. You can create a subject. You can say whether it's related to a client and choose the client. You can say if it's related to a task or a service. If it's specifically related to a phase. So you can go in and enter all of this information, or you can enter very little information, just enter a time log if you don't want to link it to a client and a service, etc. So you control how well you enter it. All I would just say is the more data you give Engager, the more power there is in the reporting functionality. So one of the things I do, so to clarify, my team at On Point Accounting, we use Claude. I pay £500+ a month for Claude because I've got that many team members on it. But we have the Teams package. That means it's safe and secure, and we've got legally written agreements between ourselves and Claude, which come by default with the Teams package, that guarantee the protection of our data. So I can export all of the time logs by just going to selecting my date range, click export into CSV, put that CSV into Claude to analyze it for me. And we get some really cool insights from that. But that only works because our team are tracking their time live against client names, services, and phases. If you're just going in and going, yeah, I work 9 till 5, that's not going to tell you anything apart from you worked 9 till 5. The more granular your detail gets, the more powerful the insights can get. Okay, well, we've got 5 minutes remaining. I hope everybody has found this session useful. As a reminder, there are ways you can get insights and keep up to date with things constantly with Engager. One of those ways is a weekly live session I do every Wednesday night on Zoom, and you can book into that using this link here that I've just put into the chat. On top of that, we've got the Engager TaxCalc Facebook group, which is great for both asking Engager and TaxCalc questions, but also practice management questions in general, firm-wide questions. from your peers. There's 2,500 peers in this group, so they're always there and always answering questions, as is the TaxCalc and Engager team. So you can join that Facebook group using that link I've just put in the chat. And if you are in or around Edinburgh on the 10th of September and want to join us for a free day out, then you can join us in Edinburgh for the Edinburgh Roadshow, which is a Fusion Roadshow in Edinburgh, and you can register your interest for that using the link I've just put in the comments. Is there any last minute questions? Anyone wants to ask me why they've got me here? Karen says, thank you, Johan. Come to West Country, please. Not Bristol, I mean further down. I'm fairly regularly in and around Exeter and Newton Abbot because I've got a firm down there now. So I'll see if I can organise a informal get together or something, Karen. Joe says thank you. Paul says thank you for your insights as usual. Karen says great. I've got a question in from Sarah. Follow-up question. Can you pull a report on time that shows total time worked for a period for all staff? Absolutely, Sarah. So you go to time logs. Let's say I want to see all time logs. I don't know if I've got any data in here for this, but we'll have a look. All time logs for July. No, I've not got any time logs for that. So I'm going to have all my time logs for April, all staff, and then I can export that data as well. And then again, providing you're using the right tier of ChatGPT and T or Claude, which is the Teams or enterprise level and above, that is the hill I am going to die on. It's going to be my mantra for the rest of my life. You can export this data, put it into Claude or into ChatGPT to get them to analyze it and find you some insights and stuff as well. So yeah, absolutely, you can do that, Sarah. Patrice says thanks. Beth says thanks. Grace says thanks for everything. It's very helpful. You're very welcome. Jamie says thanks, Johan. A very helpful catch up of some things I've missed. No problems. It's always hard work to keep on top of these things. We are going to try and start doing these webinars with updates once a month, where I look back at the previous month's webinars, previous month's features, and talk about what's coming out in this month and what we're still working on with the big projects, so everyone can see a bit more visibility on what we're doing. Rebecca says, thank you. We're just starting a trial, so useful for development. Absolutely, Rebecca. If your team are just starting the trial, make sure you go to our website. He says, click on support, free training, and we've got a daily webinar. So if it's your first week, as it were, jump on the getting started one. That's kind of an overall thing of the whole of Engager. And then you can deep dive into different feature areas with all the other webinars over the coming days and weeks. Angela, will there be a recording to cover over a few things again, please? Yeah, Angela, once this session ends, click on the link in your email again, and it will start the replay straight away for you. Sarah says thank you. Michael says thank you, very informative. Thank you, Brian. Adrian says thank you, great as always. Fantastic. Right. I hope you all have a very good Tuesday. I hope you're having a more wound down week after MTD and VAT deadlines. And you can enjoy some of this August weather we are having. I will see you all very soon in the coming sessions. Goodbye.